Hello YouTube, Atlanta to Dallas Aviation here with unveiling number 42. Today's unveiling should be fairly short and sweet. The subject matter is there's two models, but they're the model of the same airplane type, but just two different liveries. So we should be able to get through this fairly quickly, including like the extra information I usually provide. The power plants are the same power plants for both of these aircraft, including not just the designation, but the model number is the same on both of these. So we should be able to get through this fairly quickly. So going ahead and unveiling our first box, it's this one. Sorry, I got my turntable turning, so there we go. All right. So as you can see, this is the Boeing 767-400 in the United regular livery, Evo Blue. Its registration number right down here is November 66056. And this is a Panda model, so there's not anything on here that says anything about who the manufacturer is, but it's a Panda model. Here are the different sides of the box for this particular release. Back here, you see that, and then real close up here. Here is basically what the item number is. And even though it doesn't show the PW, or I'm sorry, not PW, but PM, oftentimes Panda models are designated in lists as having an item number of PM dash, and then this number 52363. All right. So there is the box. I've got my trusty turntable already turning. So let me bring in the first model. Now, of course, this is the Panda model's mold. So I passed on Gemini jets. It just did not turn out the way I was hoping it was going to turn out, and with other YouTubers looking at it and looking at it at that mold compared to the old Dragon Wings mold, it's pretty disappointing, to say the least, that the Gemini jets turned out the way it turned out. And I personally, what turned me off about it was the engines. The engines looked exactly like Gemini jets slapped on the engine mold that they have for the 767-300, and that's not correct. So I decided to forego the Gemini Jets version of the 767-400. But as you can see here, as we let it turn, looking quite nice. Sorry, I'm trying to let it turn a few times so I can figure out how close I can get to it, because I'm not lined up, and I don't have it lined up on the turntable particularly well, so I don't want any of it to be disappearing on us. like it almost did right there. All right. All right, so while it's turning, give you some extra information here. So this particular airframe was delivered to Continental Airlines. Continental was the airline that ordered this and not United, so United just ended up with all of Continental's orders. Now I'm not sure if any of the 767-400s were delivered to United after the merger, but this one, this particular airframe was delivered to Continental first, and then United inherited it. So delivered to Continental on the 27th of June in 2001, and based on first flight, it is approximately 22.9 years old, and goodness, my turntable stopped, sorry. Let me get this thing going again. Terribly sorry about that. And now it's turning the direction I don't want it to turn. There we go. All right, sorry. I was about to tell you, so I already told you how old it was, and that's still active. It's powered by two General Electric CF6 engines with a model number of 80 Charlie 2 Bravo 7 Foxtrot. So those are the engines that power the 767-400, and that'll be the same for the other model I will be unveiling here in just a few moments. Now United actually, it looks like United actually has two different seating configurations for their 767-400s. Version 1 has 36 business class, aka domestic first class. So 36, 24 premium economy, and 173 economy. And that appears to be the high density version. And then version 2 has a few more business class seats. It has 3 more, making being at 39 business class seats, 70 premium economy, so 3 times as many premium economy in version 2 as there is in version 1. And then, which means not as much room for regular economy, where it only has 131 economy seats in version 2 versus 130, I'm sorry, instead of 173 economy in version 1. So that's my extra information there. All right, so let you look at this for just a few more moments here before I switch it out for model number 2. Very beautiful. And we will look at the mold here in a minute. I did not do a ton of research on what the real 767 should look like, so my analysis will be very unscientific. Alright, so as you might imagine, especially if you know what the Panda releases are, these are the first 2 Panda releases of the 767-400, and the second one, standard livery, Delta. Oops, I guess I need to come out a little bit so you can see the box. All right, and angle it up a little bit. There we go. All right, sorry about that, guys and girls. So here we go. The Boeing 767-400 and the standard Delta livery. And this one's registration, as you can see down there, is November 825 Mike Hotel. And then this is what the rest of the box looks like. Okay, and the back of the box just kind of looks like this. Nothing particularly special. And then here is the item number with PM added to the front of it. PM-52361. All right. So moving on to bringing this model into frame. All right, let's see here. Alrighty, sorry for dead air here. I'm just trying to make sure I'm as close as I can be before I start reading the extra. Now, of course, part of reading the extra on this one is powered by the exact same engines as we had on the United, so I'm not going to go over the power plants again. Now, unlike United, Delta Airlines actually ordered the 767-400. They did not get this from their merger partner in Northwest. Delta actually ordered these, so they all came to Delta brand new. And this particular airframe was delivered to Delta on the 14th of December of 2000. The airframe, based on first flight, is approximately 24.6 years old and is currently active. And like I said, same power plants as the United version. Delta evidently has only one seating configuration for their 767-4s, and that would be 34 business, aka domestic first class, only 20 premium economy, and then 184 economy. So that basically, I think that just kind of suggests that they use this for high density markets, where United actually has two different different ways that they use their 764s, but Delta evidently only use it for one purpose, and it's obviously a higher density purpose. All right. So with all that said, we will let this turn here. And let's see about getting here to stop. All right, so let's take a look here. Get in a little closer. We could probably pull this down a little bit and get more to a ground level type. All right, so this is usually about as close as I can get without it. All right. So we have our nose cone here. The cockpit windows look like they're pretty straight, so that's nice. Just behind the cockpit windows, we have the SkyTeam logo before the L1 door. Length of the nose gear, I think that looks pretty good. All right, moving back. We have our L2 door. We have Delta titles and the Delta widget above what is domestic first class there. We have our CF6 engines here. Nice, looks like pretty nice length on the main gear, which I believe was part of yesterday's airlines looking at the Gemini versus the Dragon. I think that was one of the things he pointed out, that the main gear wasn't quite right, meaning it wasn't long enough. I could be wrong. I probably should have done a little bit more research, and if I was going to quote somebody, look at that video again to make sure I understood what he was saying. We definitely, it definitely sits better than the Gemini, and it's not, some of the Gemini ones I have seen don't sit down on their nose gear. This definitely sits on its nose gear. So either the gears are right and it's sitting properly on the nose gear, or I'm not really sure what else to say about that. We have a reasonable amount of wing flex as if it were on the ground. What you can't tell right here, you have the nice straight wingtips, but you can't really see that here. I guess since I mentioned it, I guess I should do something where you can see it. So there's the straight wingtip that I'm talking about. Stop it. There you go, back in focus. Sorry, I knew that might happen if I moved it. All right. So moving back, we've got our flag and our aircraft registration, and I'm actually not sure if that door is, I assume that's actually a door, so we're going to call that the L3, and there's your L4 door. And then our Delta tail here with the onward and upward. I swear upward and onward sounds more correct, but I think it's actually onward and upward. And honestly, I think that's the way they have the widget on the tail here is an homage to Northwest Airlines, because they used to have a compass thing, especially on the port, on the port side, like we're looking at. Their little symbol had a little triangle that pointed to the northwest. So I feel like that's sort of paying homage to that by using the widget as the pointer rather than just a random triangle inside a inside a circle. And then we can take a look here in the back. Pretty well done APU back there. It does look like it's molded into the fuselage instead of just completely painted. Hopefully you can see that really well. And then we get a, see if we can get a tail shot here. Sorry for all the moving here, folks. Trying to get you a good read on this. Alright, so you got the rear end facing you there. I'm gonna come out a little bit so you can see the whole shebang here. Oh, still can't see it. Sorry. Wingtip to wingtip here, please. There we go. So you got that shot. And we'll look at it head on here. Not quite. All right, that's a little better head on. There we go. So get a little bit closer here. So there's your head-on shot. I can't quite tell where it's focusing. It looks like it's focusing on the engines. And so what's closest to you probably looks a little bit blurred. Sorry about that. And I feel like from this angle you can kind of tell that the vertical stabilizer is not in straight. So it tilts somewhat towards the starboard side. But it's not that huge a deal. But let's turn it back this way and kind of see how it's sitting on here. Because I feel like when I've seen pictures of the real thing, it is somewhat nose down, kind of like a hot rod. And this one kind of looks like it sits the way I would expect to see the real thing sit. But it is on the nose gear, so so they just have it balanced properly, and the struts, both the main and the nose struts, are of proper length to make it sit right. So there you have it. The unveiling of the Panda models version of the 767-400. I think it's safe to say that it's definitely better than the Gemini jets, and I might even just mold itself. Obviously the Dragon Wings mold is old and doesn't have aerials and all that stuff, and there's not as much printing detail on it. But if you don't consider that, I would still probably say that the mold here is better than Dragon Wings. So, so that is good. Like I said, I did not go into, I'm just going by what I remember seeing in other people's videos, and as well as what I know about this plane and seeing pictures online and things like that. So I couldn't really comment. Like, I don't know if the pylons that are holding the engine to the wing are the right shape or anything. I don't really know. And since I didn't look carefully for the main gear and stuff, I can't tell you for sure, but it looks like the main gear and the nose gear are of proper length, and it sits away in a way where it looks the same way as the actual aircraft looks when it's sitting on the ground. Other than waiting for NG Models to put out their mold, I think we have a pretty good mold here. I'm just always skeptical about Panda's ability to print, not necessarily cockpit windows, but passenger window lines. I've had an awful lot of Pandas that where the window line is too high. I don't think that's the case on these models. They look pretty good to me, both on camera and in person. So that's good. So it doesn't ruin the fact that they have a great mold here, and so they seem to have done a good printing job on both of these models. And just for a treat, as I'm setting this up, please, I'd like to remind you, if you enjoyed this video, please like and maybe even share it. And if you find that you're enjoying multiple videos of mine, please consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, I'd love to hear and read your comments on these models or any other models that you might have. All right. Well, hopefully you get a good picture here. All right, so that finishes this video. I hope you enjoyed, and until the next video, happy collecting.